Hey viewers, welcome to another game of Casual Pro Gamer. Today we're going to do an Ullr game with Zapman, and as you can see he's here with his complete team. This is actually the weekly tournament. I don't know who they're playing, but it is, well, a tournament. So they will be playing for the win and obviously try hard a little bit more than they would normally do. So hopefully this game will start soon because obviously we're still in the starting up phase here. And we are going to start off by buying our items. I'm not sure what he's going to buy because there is quite a bit of variation possible. We're starting with Deathstall and Morningstar level 1, allowing us to get 1 health potion only. Not a lot, but well, if you play it right as a physical ranged carry, you shouldn't really need too much. Because, well, the early game is mainly about, well, getting some poke off, getting some minions, and then you go back to buy your Heartseeker, which is, of course, well, your main item for the beginning of the game. And while we have a pause here, we are going to watch the other items. We have the Smithy's Hammer for both of the supports. Level 2 gives a little bit of physical protection, actually quite a bit of physical protection, and some health. Some wards out, actually quite a lot of wards out here for the blue team, which is not us. So they are going to get quite a bit of early game vision, and of course the enemy team, so our team, does not really see that they have that yet because, well, if you plant the wards before you meet your opponent, yeah, they don't get to see how many wards you actually placed unless you know exactly what you can buy. And obviously most people will spend their entire amount of gold. But yeah, you can also keep gold in your bank. It is, well, not common practice in high level games, but it is at least not uncommon either. So it is viable that people just leave that gold there to buy the next item a little bit quicker. Anyhow, that being said, we are going to see the Vampiric Shroud on both of the mid laners and on a jungler because, well, I'm assuming this is jungle Freya. But it might also be jungle Tyr, I don't actually know. Both of them can jungle, both of them can solo lane. And, well, the builds are pretty much the same. Here, of course, we have Boomba's Mask, so it's pretty obvious that Naja is going to go jungle. And, wow. We are starting off here with a 2-man blue buff, even though normally we see that the mid laner and the physical ranged carry are going to go to the mid camps, pick up the gold, and then the blue will be picked up by the support. But yeah, probably afraid that it was going to be stolen or something else happened. I didn't really pay attention to the mid camps, to be honest, because it is none of our concerns. Our concern here as, well, Ullr is that we survive the lane and we kind of react well to ganks and to our support being, well, aggressive or not aggressive. And yeah, that is of course all about the communication. But as a, well, ranged physical carry, you can't really roam too much in the beginning of the game, where in the end game your task is to roam. So you need to be all over the map as much as possible. And here we're going to be able to harass quite a bit actually. Getting a nice stun off, getting the switch and immediately getting more damage off. And that is really hard to deal with. It is one of the main things why Ullr is so hard to deal with at the moment. Because if you can switch, well, if you can get the combinations off, and we're going to try to zone out here a little bit. If you can get the combinations off and you can get the X stun into, well, the harass basically of the range stance, it doesn't really matter what you use. The combination of that is just very, very strong. As you might have noticed, the Freya, when she banishes the buff, it immediately resets. Now look at that, stun into stun. Are they going to pick up the first kill? Yes, they are going to pick up the first kill. Actually, first blood. I didn't know whether there was any blood spilled yet on the other side of the map. I did not see it, but yeah, that was the first kill. Very nicely done. Very good gank there from the Naja. And obviously he came in from the side, so it's pretty hard to spot because, as you might have noted, this is a 3D MOBA, and it is harder to spot your enemies coming in this one than it is in well, in the more of the, what's that? I don't know, top-down ones. It's not actually top-down; it's more an isometric camera, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. We are going to grab only level 2. Oh, there's level 3. Yeah, level 3 Heartseeker. I was like, why did he go home if he can't afford it? But yeah, he can afford it. So level 3 there on the Heartseeker, and now we're going to have to stack that up and obviously not die, and then everything should be fine. He is going to the right lane here and going to go back to his own lane, in short, to well, just farm up his Heartseeker, because at this point, well, getting your Heartseeker up to as many stacks as you can is your biggest priority. As you might have noticed, the Apollo went back as well, and well, he was forced back because of that team fight that they had, and he didn't complete his Heartseeker, and because of that, because he doesn't have his Heartseeker, he is going to be behind, and he's not going to be able to stack it up as quickly. Because he still needs to recall at this point and finish his Heartseeker, then come back to lane, and he doesn't want to do that right now because he's going to lose quite a bit of farm. And even though stacking up your Heartseeker is, well, very important, it's also very important to not lose farm. And obviously now they're going to kind of hold back on the pushing power, because you don't want to push too much if you know that you're ahead, and if you know that you can zone out your enemies. And wow, a nice steal there on the blue buff. Nothing they can do about this, except if the jungler were here, but the jungler is not here. He's on the other side of the map. Well, halfway, I guess, in the middle lane. And because of that, a really easy blue steal, and Ullr really wants his blues early on. And well, he wants enough mana for the entire game. Quite a bit of mana used by him, because well, his skills are quite expensive, and they are kind of his strong thing. Yeah, nice pull here. It's an easy one, of course, but it's not going to result in a kill. The monkey way too tanky, and therefore not taking enough damage. But yeah, it was a nice amount of damage. It's there's no real reason not to do it, because a little bit of damage is already enough to make people, well, sit behind in the lane. And if they're behind in the lane, they cannot be as aggressive, and that is of course what it's all about. And now with Fenrir recalling, not Fenrir, the monkey, not Humbats, come on, Wukong. With Wukong recalling, it should actually be easy, yeah, to go do something else, to push that lane for a little bit at least. And yeah, he wanted to pick up the blue, decided not to. But yeah, he has to push the lane at this point, because every minion that gets hit by a tower, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this game, every minion that gets hit by a tower is worth 0 gold. And yeah, therefore, if you can push minions into the tower, you immediately lose gold. Or rather, the enemy immediately loses gold. And therefore, pushing towers is actually a valid strategy in the early game already. There is no last hitting on the tower. As I said, if you last hit things after they have been hit by the tower, you just lose the money anyway. So you get 0 money for it. Which is why we will see that in the later stages of the game, people will pick up the ranged minions and not the, so under tower that is. They will pick up the ranged minions first, and if, well, anything of the melee minions is still left, they will pick them up. But it is, it's hard to pick up melee minions in tower range, because, well, they have so much HP that you can't normally take them down before the tower tags them, and yeah, after that there's no point in taking them down, except for the reduced tower pressure. And reduced tower pressure is good, but it's definitely not the yeah, the thing why you take down minions. Anyhow, we are finally going to gank. As I said, in the later stage of the game, it is really important to roam as a ranged physical carry, because you have that sustained damage that a lot of the ganks need. A lot of the ganks are kind of one burst in the beginning of the game, so one stun into maybe a second stun and at least a lot of burst, and then hoping that that would be enough. But for a ranged physical damage dealer, the amount of damage that has to be done is never a problem. You can just keep attacking and you keep doing damage. Don't have to wait for cooldowns, you don't have to wait for anything. And that is what makes the ganks from physical damage, well, carries so strong. And obviously the physical casters still have the same problem that the magical casters have, but hey, whatever. We are going to get out of here. Our blue buff has been taken by now. And yeah, therefore he was actually looking towards ganking once again, because he knows that this blue buff is going to be well, kind of the next point of contention for this lane. But for now, it still has 25% of the cooldown to go, which is, I believe, about a minute. So the total cooldown about 4 minutes. I don't know, 4 or 5, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. He knows it's not going to come up anytime soon, and therefore, well, he doesn't need to be there. But yeah, having wards on that region is really good, obviously. So what did we buy here? We bought our Draining Blade was already there. Penetration, attack speed, lifesteal, it's good for early game. And now we have combat boots, which is level 2 of the boots, the offensive part of the boots. So all in all, it's just a lot of damage that you build, and you build some lifesteal to keep up with the harassment. And then in the late stage of the game, it is all about doing more damage than your opponent. Because if you can do more damage than your opponent, then obviously you will do well. Here he got a little bit behind in this fight, but it seems that Apollo was a little bit scared of what might happen here. Because getting hit by one stun means that you lose a lot of... Yeah, and here you will see that. Here you will lose a lot of health. So if he got ganked there and he would have gotten stunned or tagged even, then he might have died, and that is why he retreated from that side. They don't really have yeah, many wards out. They have one ward out, and here an easy kill. Obviously Ullr has a lot of burst damage, and Apollo should know that. But yeah, just a 1v1 kill, no pressure from anywhere else, just pure 1v1, and still he lost his life there. Yeah, there was only one ward out for the enemies, so they didn't really know, or they couldn't really see anyone coming in. But yeah, if you only have one ward out, you're not really feeling safe. And obviously, if you're behind, that is a problem. Here, this Ullr now is so far ahead in everything. He has been pressuring the lane from, well, the start basically, and doesn't really have to worry too much about anything. As you might have noticed, both of the supports have started roaming and aren't really in the lane anymore. It's a big difference between what happens here and what happens in the lower level games. Because here, they know the supports are going to stay in this right side jungle from our perspective here. So left side on the minimap. They're going to stay there for the most part, not all the time. Obviously, they're going to go wherever they are needed. But the thing is, because they're there, they can actually assist the physical carries in doing their job and in protecting them. And here we go. We are going to gank from the side. Unfortunately, he gets mesmerized, but it doesn't really matter. He still has the damage to take out one of his opponents, and that's all he needs for now to put more pressure on this, because obviously, yeah, with his burst, he can actually get one more. No. Nope, nope, nope. Not going to catch the monkey. The monkey got out low health there. He is going to farm up a camp just to lifesteal a little bit, I guess. Although he doesn't really have lifesteal, so probably just for some more gold then. Maybe he realized that he was a little bit off from the amount of gold he needed for his next item or something like that. But all in all, yeah, just an easy gank resulting in 1 kill and 1 almost kill. And that relieves the pressure of mid, and he can now go back to his lane. Roaming, still a big issue, of course, because, well, you want to do it as much as possible, because the advantage of roaming is that nobody knows where you are. So as long as people don't know where you are, you can get very, very easy kills off without having to do anything really crazy. And we are going to jump through the wall there. Yeah, Ullr really has the complete assortment of everything. He has a stun, he has a jump, yeah, he has range, he has physical, he has lifesteal built into his kit. Basically, he can do attack speed built into his kit. So you can basically do whatever the hell you want with him. It's just that obviously it all costs mana, or virtually all of it costs mana, and that is the issue with Ullr. In the beginning, especially, if you don't get your blue buff, so if someone steals your blue buff, that is a really, really big problem. I don't know who got this blue buff. I'm assuming the enemies got it. Yeah, the enemies did get it, because he didn't pick it up. And we should be able to pick up this Freya. Yes, very nicely done. The huge damage coming out, and this should be a dead Scylla. But no, the other guy goes down. Okay, that's good too. Oh my god. Just wiping the floor with the entire enemy team here. And here comes the problem with this quadra kill. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the problem, of course, with the everything is skill shot, well, variation that this game is. Because everything is a skill shot, you can miss multiple attacks in a row, and yeah, you have to at some point use some mana to get closer to people, because you get slowed every time you use a basic attack. There's a slow on you, and yeah, you will fall behind. Obviously, that is why we have sprint, and sprint is going to be level 3 sprint eventually, which makes that movement speed penalty is 0. So you no longer have that, and yeah, well, it helps out a lot, of course. So by now, boots have been completed, warrior tabai, and then we are going to go for the short sword. And that built into probably Rage. It can also be Deathbringer, both of which are huge damage items. And, well, both of which are just late game items. The fact that he arrives there well before his opponent is here is still working on his boots. So you can see he has the Draining Blade, which his opponent doesn't have. And he has this short sword already. Draining Blade is just there for the lifesteal. He is going to eventually complete it, but for now it is fine to leave that incomplete, because, well, you don't need the full abilities of, well, your completed item. What you want is the lifesteal out of that, and obviously you have multiple choices in lifesteal items, and my personal favorite is another one, but hey, it's all preference, and that is great, because there is no, like, super best build. Obviously there's a highest damage build, but that is definitely not the best build you can get on physical carries, on any physical carry, so no matter whether you're ranged or melee. So he's just continuing on. He obviously has stacked his Heartseeker by now, and we should be able to well, to not die for the rest of the game, because, well, at this point he's so far ahead, especially of this Apollo, that he shouldn't really have to worry about any of that. Obviously staying not behind the minions, but away from the minions, because you don't want to get hit by that line skill shot, because even though it doesn't do that much damage to him at this point, you still don't want to take that damage. It's unnecessary, and you don't want to take unnecessary damage. And as you might have noticed, he is poking quite heavily at that tower. Tower down to about 75%. And that means that if he can push this tower with the second wave that is coming in right now. Wow, actually doing a lot of damage to Apollo now. Yeah, he should be able to take it out here, because Apollo is not going to be able to stay in that. Are we going to be able to get this? Yep, jumps out, got a lot of damage done, then jumps out because he realized he was not going to be able to finish the kill before Apollo would catch up. And 2v1, yeah, that's a little bit too much. Obviously, you don't want that. But yeah, very nicely played. It is indeed going to be Rage. Rage, of course, physical power, because, well, why else would you build it? Then critical strike, attack speed, and yeah, you get an increased attack, increased critical chance if your attack doesn't crit, which is what makes this item so good, because, well, you basically build up to 100% crit in like 3 hits at maximum, so even if you don't have any other critical strike items. And that means that you're going to do quite a bit of extra damage, especially to other gods. And, well, that's what you want. You want to have that high damage potential, and of course with the extra attack speed, that 3-hit maximum for a crit actually becomes fairly easy to hit. So we do go up against Tyr here. We haven't seen Tyr yet, so yeah, going up against a new god in your matchup is always kind of hard, because obviously, well, the Tyr kind of does different things than what he's been going up against for the last 20 minutes. And that is, wow, yeah, just still picks it up with the help of his support. But yeah, he kind of had to make an adjustment there. You could see that he had to make an adjustment in his playstyle to make sure that, oh, no, oh, that was like the best opportunity for that, well, stun, and of course the ranged, or the AoE shots. But he missed the one AoE shot he did get off, and yeah, that was quite a shame, because they were all grouped up in one line and could have just stunned all of them, and then well, done damage with his 2 AoE spells that he has in his ranged stance. All in all, yeah, they still picked up like 3 kills there, so yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter that he didn't pick them up himself. Currently we are at 8-0, so having a very good day. Yeah, all in all, very good Ullr game, this one. Really demonstrates how he's played when he's ahead. I will try to upload a game where he's not so far ahead, but still does reasonable. Because that happens as well, of course. And the great gods and champions and heroes, whatever your game is, are the ones that can play from ahead as well as behind. Because obviously if you're behind and you can't win anymore, so if your champion is only good when he's ahead, then yeah, you're going to be in trouble most of the games. Because, well, not every game can start like this, where you start off like super ahead and then just have nothing to worry about anymore. And yeah, with this team play, of course, you can always make a comeback if you have a decent team, because that is kind of the point. He is doing a lot of damage here to Tyr, although Tyr does have quite a bit of damage himself, but does not have the CC required to stop the damage from coming in. And you can see that they trade, and then Tyr has to run away, and obviously the gang comes in, so, well, Ullr has to get away as well. But we are going to go in. It's a 3v3, if I saw that correctly. And yeah, the enemy team is just going to back off, not going to really, yeah, care about anything here. They're just going to defend their tower, not going to care about what's happening to the lane. And it seems that, yeah, there's someone actually taking down our turrets, which is not very nice. Split pushing Apollo, that is kind of a fact of life in this game. Apollo is a very good split pusher. And yeah, he has an ultimate that gets him out of any situation, and you can't chase that. So yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, it is something that you have to work with. Our Titan is under attack. That is no good. So, that is not our Titan, obviously. That is the blue Titan. They are going to team fight here while the blue Titan is under attack. They're not going to allow them to recall or, well, do anything really except for take damage. We are going to use our invulnerability there. Finally used that. He bought that at not level 1, but the first time he went back and immediately realized probably that he didn't need it yet. But yeah, that was the first time he used it 23 minutes in. So 20 minutes after he bought it. And yeah, that's just insane. I mean, he spent his early gold on it, which is very valuable gold. And then didn't really need it until 20 minutes later when gold is really so plentiful that, well, now he can afford it, obviously. And he's just going to drop the red buff there, making sure that the enemies cannot get it at least, even though he still has a blue buff on. And now going to pick up the red buff. Obviously, I can't see when the blue buff is going to drop off, but sometimes it's just good enough to drop that red buff, to make sure that your opponents cannot get it. 4 people coming into this fire giant, they are going to be way too late. And oh, the stun misses, but it doesn't matter. Wow, he actually burns down in ultimate mode. So he did get his ultimate off, or she got her ultimate off, I guess, the Freya. And then, yeah, just completely burned down afterwards by the Agni. So yeah, surrender vote has started. I hope that we will see an actual end of the game, because surrender votes are boring. But hey, they're so far behind at this point that I can definitely see them surrendering. Second Phoenix goes down, only 1 Phoenix still up. And are we going to be able to take it out? Yes, they are going to be able to take it out. Very nice game. Obviously, 905 is a very good game for Ullr, for anyone really. And yeah, well, it really showed the carrying capabilities of this god. Definitely had a very good game today. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. GG.